All right, welcome back. On to this, Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka was a special guest at Arise TV News Day on Monday, June 14. In this interview monitored in Lagos by Akinwumi King, Soyinka promised to speak on the agitation for her Yoruba nation when the time comes and expressed dissatisfaction with democratic practices under Muhammadu Buhari's regime, among other issues. Excerpts. It's been 22 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, and then 28 years after the annulment of June 12 presidential election. Would you say the ideals of June 12 have come to fruition? Do you think we have imbibed them in our democracy? All right. According to the question that is being asked by Arise TV, and then this question has been asked. All right, and then according to the answer that was given to Nigerians by Professor Wole Soyinka, it has been that, okay, let me take the question again so you will understand. It says it's been 22 years of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria and 28 years after the annulment of June 12 presidential election. Would you say the ideals of June 12 have come to fruition? Do you think we have imbibed them in our democracy? All right, that has been questioned. And then Wole Soyinka has answered by saying that, well, I am beginning to believe that many people have very different definitions of democracy, especially democracy in action, and that applies particularly to leadership in recent times. I have begun to wonder whether this government led by Buhari really understands the implications, the full responsibilities, and then commitments involved when people say they are practicing a democratic regime. One has become alarmed, not for the first time, by the way, about the understanding of democracy as emanating from the top hierarchy of governance. All right, and then that has been answered. And then another question says, looking at recent events, you said the government acted petulantly in banning Twitter over a week on now. What do you think was achieved with the suspension? All right, according to his answer, he said, and I quote, yes, this is one indication of what I am saying. In aborting or truncating the various channels of self-expression open to any populace of any kind of polity, you are absolutely abrogating the very essence of democracy. Democracy is not a sequence and series of spasm of symbolic gestures such as restoring June 12 as Democracy Day. That is purely symbolic. It is an act of restitution. In fact, I read comments from some people saying it was just a deceit. How can it be a deceit when it was never a reality? That restoration was obviously a symbolic gesture, which was very calculating, by the way, but it has to be manifested consistently and without exception in the act. And when you truncate any channel of self-expression of our people, you are literally becoming an enemy of democracy. Well, it is so obvious and then so plain. I just don't understand why one even has to expatiate on it. Okay, and then that has been answered. Okay, and another question says, what do you have to say to the roles being played by those around the president? All right, onto this, he answered by saying that, well, about the people in government around him, it's about time he sacked most of them. Anyway, they are not doing him or the nation any service. They are distorting. They are just people who will say to him what they think he wants to hear. So if he is dependent on them, his government is doomed, and so is this nation. Unfortunately, there is nothing wrong in a government being doomed. The people know how to find themselves, but unfortunately, the causes of disintegration or destabilization of everything that we have ever known, everything we have ever built up, is going to rebound most negatively on the nation. And during this so-called Democracy Day, it's time for some drastic rethinking on the part of this government. All right, another question says, looking at the role of the people in all of this, would you say that the Nigerian people have been too docile for too long, or are they just complacent? All right, and then according to his statement, his reply says, well, let us go to a statement made recently by one of the governors. I think it was the Oyo State governor. It had to do with the recent attack, the butchery, which took place in Oyo State, which is one of those defining moments. It is not the feast, it is not the first though, but I am saying it is one of the most recent defining moments for the future of this nation. And he was saying, I cannot defend my own people, but we've set up the structure of defense, but we lack the equipment. And then he is speaking not for himself. He is repeating what everybody has been saying. Well, we lack the equipment. We are ready to order it. We are ready to pay for it. We are waiting for the authorization from Aso Rock. I expected a leader to leap into the fray and say immediately that, what authorization are you waiting for? Your people are being killed and you need this. I am going to facilitate it. Come and see me in Aso Rock. This governor is articulating the mystery, despite the desperation of his own people who say we are being butchered every day, serially, collectively, and we need this to be able to protect ourselves and therefore continue to be part of this nation. Well, are you surprised then that the people then get up? Where did Sunday Igboho come from? What brings up individuals like Igboho? It is when they feel that they are not being listened to and that their very existence is in jeopardy, is in fact in great question. So when you ask me, what do the people feel? You hear it everywhere. You see it and then you hear it in all those rallies saying, we have had enough. We are going Ødúdúwa way. We are going Biafra way. If the Benue people, for instance, felt that they have the logistics to even talk about secession, they would have been the first talking secession, considering what's been happening to them in Benue over the past few years. But nobody seems to be able to find a solution. So you should not be asking me what the people are feeling or saying. It is out there on the streets. Why was Amotekun created? It is an act of desperation, of frustration. Every day, people are being kidnapped and then it has become a business. And then somebody comes out on air and acts as if all is well. Well, I am saying this nation is about to self-destruct. I am not the only one saying this, and it is about time Buhari and his government listened and took actions. Otherwise, we will not be celebrating another democracy day come next year. All right, and then onto this, another question has been asked, and it says, come 2023, what would you like to see in Nigeria as a way forward? Well, according to his reply, he says, well, first of all, Buhari must address the nation, and I don't mean the kind of interview he did the other day, which was of him to tell Nigerians that he was ill and hearty. He must address the situation, of course, using his own words. I am using my own word, that we are in a state of war and that we must be prepared for the worst. But at the same time, that the government is in full solidarity behind the people and that sacrifices will be made here and there. Even go as far as saying that some of our present lifestyle things we could take for granted. We may for a time have to do without them simply because we have internal enemy force which is eating into the intestine of the nation. Well, in other words, first of all, begin talking to the people like a leader, and a leader who is awake to the realities of the situation. Then let us see actions actually being taken. I am tired of hearing, for instance, don't worry, you will see differences in a few weeks' time. I think we are a bit tired of that. Okay, he is got to put his cards on the table. He's got to put people into confidence. He's got to stop exuding a false confidence, because that kind of confidence is totally false. It is not based on realities, and then we have got to see an acceleration of actions to retrieve this nation from the very edge. It is no longer the problem of the people, it is the problem of leadership, because the people have shown themselves ready to act to save their own community. All right, my people, the professor has said a lot of things onto this. My brother, my sister, what more can we say? I think these words, these answers had actually came from the right source, and then it's like a divine answer. Well, majority of people onto this have been of the opinion that, well, Professor Wole Soyinka, you have just said it and that is it. I think they need to work on this. Well, my people, and then that has been it on this one. What more can we say? Meanwhile, let me have your take on this, and remember to subscribe for more updates. Thanks and God bless.